Say it, no?
Okay, come. So let us begin. Thank you, Dov, for setting things up. Page 198, Parshat Vayeshev. Now, Parshat Vayeshev, the problem is trying to decide what not to speak about. Because there is just so much going on. There is so much that goes on. We have Yosef's dreams. We have the sale of Yosef. Then we interrupt that. And then we have the whole episode of Yehuda and Tamar. Then we double back to Yosef in Mitzrayim and the whole episode with the wife of Potiphar. And then we have him thrown in prison. And then we have him interpreting the dreams of the butler and of the baker. All of that is in 1 week. Okay? I mean, this could have been a year, right? So let's move around a little bit. There are a couple of very fascinating points over here. First of all, we'll start with the very first pasuk and try to understand that a little bit. And then I want to get to who sold Yosef. Now, how would you answer the question, who sold Yosef? The brothers. Pashut. Right? Ora Pashut. Black and white. Right? But it's fascinating because we learned certain things when we were young, and therefore we forever view that in that way. But we'll see the psukim, and I'd like for you to tell me what the psukim seem to indicate. But before that, Vayeshev Yaakov, Be'eretz Mugurei Aviv, right? Pasuk Aleph there, Perek Lamed Zayin, 37:1. Vayeshev Yaakov, Be'eretz Mugurei Aviv, Be'eretz Canaan. In English, Linda, take that for us, please.
Jacob settled in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan.
Okay, so right away Rashi brings the Midrash that notes the disparity of the terms here. Vayeshev Yaakov settled in the land where his fathers settled. Or Yaakov sojourned in the land of his father's sojournings. But it says Vayeshev Yaakov. Yaakov settled in the land of Mugurei Aviv, in the land of his father's sojournings. Rashi brings the famous Midrash. Just 1 second. Bikesh Yaakov Leishev Bishalva. Why don't I find it now? Oh, there we go. All right, in the second column. Second column in Rashi, four lines down. V'od nidrash b'vreshit rabba. Bikesh Yaakov Leishev Bishalva. Yaakov. Hi, Judy. Good morning. Yaakov wanted to settle Bishalva, peacefully. Kafatz alav rogzo shel Yosef. What jumped on him? He was jumped. Kafatz alav. The whole angry incident of Yosef. Tzadikim mevakshim leishev Bishalva. The righteous want to sit peacefully. Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Lo dayan letzadikim mashim etukim le'olam haba. Is it not enough that which is ready, prepared for them in the world to come, in the hereafter? Ela shemavakshim le'sheit b'shalva ba'olam hazeh. They want to sit peacefully also in this world. So again, the Medrash is noting the disparity of the terms. Vayeshev Yaakov. Yaakov wanted to settle. Where? The Eretz Mugurei Aviv. His parents, his fathers, his predecessors, they were sojourning. They were doing, there was always things going on. And Yaakov wanted to settle. And Hashem says, you want to settle? Olam haba is not enough for you? The world to come is not enough for you? You want to settle in this world? That's not how it works. Right? Laguna Woods, what it used to be called? Leisure World. That's where the LW came from. Leisure World. Right? That's Bikesh Yaakov. I want to move to Leisure World. Leishev B'Shalva. I want to sit peacefully. Hashem says, no, you can't. Well, why not? Why is that? Why? What's wrong? Yaakov has been through a lot in his lifetime already.
That's true.
Right? He's been through quite a bit. Right? He's growing up with an Esav. Right? The whole episode with the bracha, with the blessings. He had to run for his life from Esav. Right? What's the expression? Out of the fire into the fire, out of the frying pan into the fire. He runs from Esav, and where does he end up? With Lavan. 14 years, 7 years working for Rachel. He's duped. Marries Leah, then marries Rachel, then works another 7 years, then works, right, in order to pay back for having married Rachel, works another 6 years. And then Lavan tries to trick him. Lavan comes after him, threateningly. He gets away. On the way, he meets the Sar. He struggles with that Ish, with that angel, and then he has that whole encounter with Esav. Right? Enough. Right? I mean, sometimes you hear older people. Sometimes they say, enough. Yaakov wanted to sit peacefully, and what's going to happen now? Yosef. He's going to get slammed with Yosef. And this is just going to keep on going with him. Right? Yosef's gone. He thinks Yosef is dead. Right? And then they had this crazy Viceroy in Egypt who's demanding that they bring Binyamin. He's afraid he's going to lose Binyamin also. By the time he finally gets reunited with Yosef and he gets before Paro, Paro says to him, Kama yemei shnei chayecha. How old are you? Now what type of question is that? But Yaakov looked ancient. And Paro said, how old are you? Right? We say in our Tachanun, Atka betzorarai. I've become atik. I've become aged through my tzarot. That was Yaakov. And he said, no, I'm only 130 years old. Right? But you should know, ma'at v'ra'im, few and difficult and harsh, has been my life. So all this has to come. Why can't Yaakov? Tzaddikim want to leishev v'shalva. They want to retire to Leisure World. Why? Why can't they? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What do you say?
It's not what we are here for.
Okay. There is the time to do and the time to relax. Right? It's compared to a person who wins a grand prize. What is the grand prize? You have 1 hour in, I don't know, Macy's, in the biggest department store. Anything that you can haul out of there is yours. On your mark, get set, go. And tick, 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 tick. And the person's there, he's throwing things in, right? And he's going each section and hauling things out, throwing things into the cart, hauling things out. And then he gets to the bedding section. Maybe I'll take a half-hour nap. No, only 25 minutes. What do you mean? Half hour? Oh, that lazy boy looks so comfortable. Has a massage thing. Whoa. Wow. Oh, gosh. Zero gravity. Maybe I'll spend another 20 minutes here. Right? A person understands that the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. That is what life is meant to be viewed as. Life is an opportunity after an opportunity after an opportunity. And every person that we meet, and every encounter that we have, and every situation that comes our way is opportunity, 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 opportunity. Right? And it's not Vayeshev b'shalva. I've told the story a number of times of Yaakov Kamenetsky, Zichrono Livracha, who was one of the great Torah giants of the 20th century in the United States. He lived in Muncie, had a yeshiva there. He came from Russia, or what later became the Soviet Union. I'm not sure exactly which part. And he made his way. He was in Toronto. He was teaching Chumash to children there, and made his way to the United States. He had and became one of the great Torah leaders, Torah scholars. He had a cousin, I believe it was, who he had studied with in his early years in yeshiva, but who remained in the Soviet Union, behind the Iron Curtain. When he was in his 80s, he visited the Soviet Union, and he met up with this cousin of his. And Rav Yaakov had a Tanakh with him, right? Torah Nevi'im Ketuvim. And his cousin said to him, "What's that?" He had learned together in yeshiva, but over these 60 years, 70 years of communist indoctrination and alienation, he didn't know what a Tanakh was. Rav Yaakov, in his 80s, came back to the States and founded an organization which was that when the Russians, who were then starting to come out from the Soviet Union, when they would come to the United States, there would be this organization to reconnect them to their Yahadut, to their Judaism. At age 80, in his 80s, I don't know exactly where, that's when he started this organization. That is how life needs to be viewed. Right? Every day, Moda Ani, Lefanecha Melech Chai V'Kayam Shechazarta Bi Nishmati B'Chemla. You've returned with your compassion, my soul, to me. Rabba Emunatecha. Great is your faith. Great is God's faith. Meaning, great is God's faith in me. What is God's great faith in me? He gave me another day, which means there's something that can be accomplished today. He has faith in me that I can accomplish. I said many times when I was teaching at the yeshiva in Israel, the guy said to me, "Rabbi, I don't believe in God." And I said, "Okay, don't believe in God. He believes in you." How do you know he believes in you? You're alive. You're alive. He believes in you. Vayeshev Yaakov. Yaakov wanted to settle. That's not the time for settling. Let's jump up. We have, again, there's just so much to talk about over here. We have the dreams that he has, right? And Yosef's dreams, like, why is he telling his brother these dreams? Like the dreams of the sheaves bowing down to him, the dream of the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down to him. Yosef believed that this was prophecy. And he wanted the brothers to know, don't be angry at me, don't be jealous of me. This is a role that I am meant to play. Let's join forces. The brothers viewed it as his wishes. He's dreaming of all this grandeur. Right? They thought his dreams were what he wants is what he's dreaming about. And therefore, they hated him. They were jealous and they hated him. Now, let's go actually to this sale of Yosef. I asked before, who sold Yosef? And Ora jumped and said, the brothers. We all know that. Let's read the psukim. Now, just very, very briefly, to a little understanding. How could the brothers sell Yosef? How could the brothers want to kill Yosef? How do we understand this? And it's very hard to understand this. And they were held, and we as a nation were held accountable for them having done that. When we read about the Asara Haruge Malchut, the 10 great sages that were killed over time by the Romans, so this is, we are told that this is meant to be a kapara, a national atonement for that which took place with Yosef. But they had a cheshbon. They had a calculation. And according to the way that the Seforno explains it, there is a concept of a rodef. A rodef is someone who's pursuing you, trying to kill you. What is the halacha? Protect yourself. And if that means killing the person, so be it. You kill that person in order to protect yourself. The brothers, we had in the very, very beginning over here, Pasuk Bet already tells us, right? Oh, we're taking for us Pasuk Bet. Eila Toldot. We're still on page 198. Eila Toldot.
אלה תולדות יעקב יוסף בן 17 שנה, היה רואה את אחיו בצאן, והוא נער את בני בלהה ואת בני זלפה, נשי אביו, ויבא יוסף את דיבתם רעה אל אביהם.
Good. And in English, Tara, you want to take verse 2? Ateret?
These are the chronicles of Jacob. Joseph, at the age of 17 years, was a shepherd with his brothers by the flock, but he was a youth with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph would bring evil reports about them to their father.
Okay, so first of all, these are the chronicles of Jacob, Joseph. Right? So first, Joseph was 17 years old, was a shepherd, right? So the chronicles, the Toldo does not mean necessarily his children. We already know his children. We mean the sequence of events of his life as it unfolded. They also explain these are the Toldos of Jacob, Joseph, meaning his whole life was all about Joseph. Why did he have this special, special love for Joseph? It was the son of Rachel, right? We don't find he has a special, special love for Binyamin to the same way that he had for Yosef, even though they're both the sons of Rachel. I saw something interesting. Rachel had a tremendous love for Yosef. Rachel died at childbirth with Binyamin. So she never had that special love for Binyamin. She wasn't alive to have that. So that is what influenced. Yaakov saw the tremendous love that his love, Rachel, had for Yosef, and therefore he had that for Yosef. But we see Yosef is hanging around with the sons of the maidservants, and more importantly, he's bringing dibatam ra'a el avihem. Anything bad that he sees by them, he goes and he tells his father. The brothers, Forno explains as follows, the brothers are looking at Yosef and saying, we've seen this before. Let's look at great-grandfather Abraham. He had 2 sons, Yitzchak and Yishmael. Yishmael was deemed to be the chaff, right, the bad influence, and he was pushed aside and it was all about Yitzchak. Then grandfather Yitzchak had 2 sons, our father Yaakov and Esav. And once again, the older one, like Ishmael, the older one was pushed aside, right, was delegitimized, ostracized. Esav was sent away, and it's all Yaakov. And now look what's happening. We're the older children, and here's this young boy, Yosef, our younger brother, and what's he doing? He's bringing dibatam ra'al avihem. He's bringing everything bad about us to our father, and it was a misperception of different things that they were doing that he was relating to the father. He's trying to make us into a Yishmael, into an Esav. He's trying to kill us in a spiritual way, that our father will reject us, will curse us, will banish us. He is a rodef. He is trying to destroy us. What is the halacha? Save yourself. Even protect yourself. Even with the life of that person who is pursuing you. So what happens? Let's go to page 202. Yosef is sent by his father to go check on the brothers. Pasuk Yud Chet. Ruti B'chavod, page 202, Pasuk Yud Chet.
ויראו אותו מרחוק, ובטרם יקרב אליהם, ויתנכלו אותו לעמיתו. ויאמרו את איש אל אחיו, הנה בעל החלומות הזה בא, ואתה נחון ונהרגהו ונשליחהו באחת הבורות, ואמרנו חיה רעה חלתהו, ונראה מה יהיו חלומותיו.
Okay, let's stop right there. Let's take that 18 and 19 in English. This is plan A. Drew, do you want to take it for us in English?
I don't have my glasses, but I'll try.
Okay.
They saw him from afar, and when he had not yet approached them, they conspired against him to kill him. And they said to one another, "Look, the dreamer is coming. So now come and let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits, and we will say a wild beast devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams."
Plan A. Kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Chaf Aleph 21. Vayishma Ruvain. Ruvain heard. Vayatzileu miyadam. And he saved him from their hand. Vayomer, he said, Lo nakenu nafesh. Let us not be the ones who will take his life. Rather, what should we do? Page 204, Pasuk Chav Bet. Vayomer leim Ruvain, al tishbechu dam. Let us not spill blood. Hashlichu oto el habor. Let's throw him into a pit. Asher b'midbar. That's in the desert. V'yad al tishlechu bo. And let us not send our hands against them. What was he thinking? L'man hatzil oto miyadam lashir el aviv. He didn't say this. What he was planning to do was to save him from their hand and bring him back to the father. Plan B is Ruvain. What's Ruvain's plan? His stated plan is throw him into a pit, let him die there, and what he was really planning to do was to rescue him, saying, I'm the oldest, I'll be held responsible, I will bring him back to father. Dov, yes?
Something doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense? If they kill him, why do they need to throw him into a
Hey, you can seal it. I mean, I think...
It doesn't make sense. If you kill him, he doesn't need to be thrown into a pit. I can understand if they don't kill him, they throw him into a pit to confine him.
Okay, interesting, Dov. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Okay. So what happens now? Let's see how it unfolds. Vayihi kasher ba Yosef el achav. Yosef comes to his brothers. Vayavshitu et Yosef et kotanto. They pull off that special garment that the father had given him, which was the cause of of so much ire and jealousy. Vayikachu, and they took him. Vayashlichu to abor, and they threw him into a pit. Va'abor reik ein bo mayim. The pit was empty. There was no water. Right? Meaning, this was a place where he was going to die. There was no water. There was no way of him getting out. He was going to die there. Now, actually, when we say the pit was empty, don't I know there was no water? Rashi brings the famous Midrash, there was no water, there were snakes and there were scorpions that were in there. And actually, Ruvain, when he said throw him in there, he said, let our hand not be there. Very, very interesting. He said, we are Baalei Bechira. We have our own free will. How do we know if he's really deserving of this or not? Maybe we're going too far. Maybe we're taking this into our own hands in the wrong way. Let's throw him into a pit, no water, snakes and scorpions. These animals don't have bechira, they don't have free will. If he's supposed to live, he'll live. If he's supposed to die, he'll die. But it will not be tainted, it will not be moved by our own feelings and our own free will.
Still cruel.
100% cruel. Now, but keep in mind, the Torah already testified Reuven's plan was to go back and rescue him. Right? That's clear. The Torah testifies. That's what Reuven had in mind.
But he knows that the pit has full of scorpions and snakes. And
Yes, I know full, but certainly they are in there. But he's confident that, that Yosef, if he's supposed to live, let's hear.
Who said the pit is empty? It couldn't have water. They could have thrown him and weighted him down and
The pasuk says Ein B'mayim.
Huh?
The pasuk says the pit was empty, there was no water.
No, they said one of the pits before they didn't mention about no water. It could have been a pit of water.
Vayeshvu lechol lechem. Now they sit down to eat some bread. Now, actually, the Seforno brings this as a proof that this was not this wild, impassioned rage killing. Because after that, you don't sit down and, could you please pass the sandwiches? Oh, could you have some bread? Right? You're all worked up. But rather, this was a very deliberate din, judgment that they passed, that he was a rodef, that he had the status of someone pursuing them. Vayisuinehem. Let's go very carefully here. Again, who done it? Who sold Yosef? They lifted their eyes. Vayiru, and they saw. V'inei orchat Yishmaelim ba'a mi Gilad. There was a caravan of Yishmaelim coming from Gilad. Ugmaleim and their camels, Nosim were carrying nechot, tzri, velot, all these different types of spices, right? Spices, balsam, lotus. Holchim lahorid Mitzrayim, going down towards Egypt. Vayom Yehuda el Achav. Yehuda says to his brothers, here's plan C. Ma betza ki narog dachinu. What are we going to gain by killing our brother and covering his blood? L'chuv v'nimkarenu liyishmaelim. What should we do? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. They saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming. Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. V'yadein al tibo. And our hand will not be with him. Ki achinu v'sarenuhu. He's our brother. He's our own flesh and blood. As if that's okay then to sell him. Right? We see this incredible moral breakdown of the brothers. And Yehuda, who's the leader. Vayishma'u echav. The brothers kiblu. The Targum says. V'kabilu minei. Not that they heard, but they agreed. They accepted that plan. Pasuk Chavchet. Carefully now. V'yavru anashim midyanim. Past. They're past then men, Midianites. Socharim, merchants. Vayimshechu. And they pulled. Vayalu. And they brought up Yosef. Min habor. From the pit. Vayimkuru et Yosef liyishmaelim. And they sold Yosef to the Ishmaelim for esrim kesef, for 20 kesef. Vayaviu et Yosef Mitzrayim. And they brought Yosef to Mitzrayim. Tell me, reading this pasuk, who did what? Who pulled him out of the pit? Do you see that? Linda, read it in English, 28. Midianite men.
The Midianite men, traders, passed by. They drew Joseph and lifted him out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Then they brought Joseph to Egypt.
So who's they? They drew Joseph and lifted him out of the pit. Who is they?
The Midianite men.
It seems the Midianite men. So Rashi learns Midianite men passed by, and the sons of Yosef, of Yaakov, pulled Yosef, and they sold him to the Ishmaelim, And then the Ishmaelim sold, right? So that's how Rashi's learning. It's not what it seems to be saying. The Rashbam says, according to Pshat, Omek Pshat, according to the depths of the simple Pshat, who pulled him up? The Midyanim pulled him up. But Rashi learns Midianite men passed, merchants, Vayimshechu, and they pulled, the sons of Yaakov, pulled Yosef from the pit and sold him to the Yishmaelim for 20 kesef. So first of all, according to Rashi, we're saying they is going back not on the subject that we've had all along, so far the Midianim, going back to the brothers. And then the question is, according to Rashi, why are you mentioning the Midianim over here? If the brothers pulled him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelim, who brought him to Mitzrayim, why are we even mentioning these Midyanim, according to Rashi, who learns that the brothers sold him? So Rashi says, well, this was another caravan, and he was sold many times. The brothers sold him to Ishmaelim, who sold him to the Midyanim, who sold him down to Egypt. That's how Rashi is learning over here. Why is Rashi learning like this? That's not what it says. It could be interpreted, but that's not the black and white. Well, later on, when Yosef reveals his identity to his brothers, right, what does he say to them finally? I am Yosef, your brother, asher mechartem oti Mitzrayima, that you sold me to Mitzrayim. Rashi says, oh, Yosef says, you sold me to Mitzrayim, so what do I have to do over here? I need to work this pasuk through that it's that's the brothers who sold him. Rashbam, who takes it black and white, it was the Midyanim who pulled him up and sold him to Ishmaelim, says, yeah, basically they sold him to Mitzrayim. They didn't actually do the sale, but come on, they threw him into the pit. He came to check on their welfare. He's supposed to go back to their father with the word, the message, the news of how they're doing. They threw him into a pit, and because of that, he got pulled out by these Midyanim and sold to the Ishmaelim and down to Mitzrayim. They're responsible for it. That's how the Rashbam will learn that. Let's go a little bit further now, back to where we were, 204. Vayeshev Reuven el habor. Reuven then comes back to the bore, comes back to the pit. Why? Because now he wants to do the plan that the pasuk, the verse before, testified was his intent. He wanted to save Yosef. Vayikra begadav, and behold, ein Yosef habor. Yosef's not in the pit. And he tore his garments. Vayashav alachad. He went back to his brothers. 206. Vayomer, he said, Hayeled einenu. The child is not there. Va'ani ana ani ba. And I, what am I going to do now? Now, where was Reuven? Now, according to the Rashbam, it's all very simple. They threw him into a pit. They moved away so as not to hear his cries, not hear all this. They see the Ishmaelim. They're debating what to do. Meanwhile, at the pit, what happens? Midyanim come, take him out. Reuven then finishes the meal, goes back to the pit, sees Yosef's not there, runs back to the brothers, and says, what am I going to do in front of Father? According to that, that's all very simple. According to Rashi, that the brothers did everything, where was Reuven? So that's why Rashi again needs to deal with that. And Rashi says, B'mechirato, Pasuk Chav Tet in the Rashi, they're very about 204, Lo hayasham. He wasn't there by the sale. Why? Rashi says they all had this Torah nut. They had this rotation of going back to help their father. And it was Reuven's turn to be back home. And therefore, he missed it. It's a little bit strange according to Rashi. Again, Right? Where do we see such a thing? And if there was such a system in place, then why did he need to send Yosef to see how the brothers are doing? If every day one of the brothers is coming back to help the father, and why wasn't Yosef able to help his father? Right? But Rashi is troubled. If they were all part of the sale, then where did he come from? But again, Rashi says, you sold me. Right? That's what Yosef says later on. So that's how he needs to adjust over here. But if you're learning the simple wording of the verses, the brothers did not sell Yosef. Nevertheless, they are responsible for it. And Yosef says to them, you sold me. And the tsarot that I mentioned before of the 10 martyrs, right, who were atoning, right? Remember that we say there that one of the sages went up in a spiritual sense, in a Kabbalistic sense, to find out, is this a decree? Is this what's supposed to happen? And yes, it is supposed to happen. So we see the responsibility of that which we set in motion. We can be held responsible as if we actually did it. Right? It wasn't me is not really the excuse that carries water if we set it in motion. What happens next? Yes.
The question, it says here that after they threw him in the pit, they sat down and had a meal.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say these people were sitting and Reuben went to take care of that.
Correct. Again, Rashi, according to the Rashbam, the way I would imagine it is, here's the pit, and they went to eat over here. They don't see what's happening. There's a chumash in the way. They can't see what's happening over here by the pit. And then the Midyanim come, take him out, sell him. Reuven goes back, sees it's empty, comes back to the brothers. That's simple. That's how we can read it. According to Rashi, they were all there. They pulled him out of the pit. So where was Reuven? So therefore Rashi needs to find where was Reuven, and he gives two possibilities. Either what I said before, or Asuk haya b'sako v'ta'anito al shabiv yitzu aviv. At the end of last week's Parsha, Reuven interfered with the personal matters of his father. Right? After Yaakov, after Rachel had died, so Yaakov moved his main lodging from the tent of Rachel, not to the tent of Leah, but to the tent of Bilhah. Reuven felt this was an affront to his wife, to his mother, if my mother Leah is second fiddle to Rachel, now she'll be second fiddle to Bilhah, to the maidservant of Rachel. He moved, right, and that was an overstep on his part, right? Actually, a beautiful explanation that I heard was that Yaakov moved his main lodging to the tent of Bilhah out of respect for Leah, not out of disrespect for Leah. And what he understood as saying was, I chose Rachel over you. It's degrading to you. Oh, now Rachel's died? Okay, now you're mine. Right? I'll get you on the rebound. Yeah. His moving his tent, his main lodging to Bilhah, was to say, if I didn't choose you as first, then I don't almost deserve to have you now. Right? That's another way of looking at it. But Rashi is scrambling to explain where was Reuven. Right? But according to the Rashbam, if you're going with black and white, with the pshat, just reading without inserting, the brothers did not sell Yosef, but they were fully responsible for it. Yes, Dov.
They didn't sell Yosef. collectively, Reuben's not there. So you can't say they did it. A portion of them maybe did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay, what happens next? 208. Or b'chavod vayhi ba'et hahi. Perek Lamed Chet.
פסוק
Aleph.
ויהי בעת ההיא, וירד יהודה מאת אחיו, ויט עד איש אדולמי ושמו חירה. וירא שם יהודה בת איש כנעני ושמו שוע, ויקחיה ויבוא אליה. ותהר ותלד בן, ויקרא את שמו ותהר עוד ותלד בן, ותקרא את שמו עונן. ותוסף עוד ותלד בן, ותקרא את שמו שלה, שהיה בכזיב, בלידתה אותו.
Beautiful. Okay. Linda, take in English, please. It was at the time.
It was at that time that Judah went down from his brothers and turned away towards an Adullamite man whose name was Hira. There Judah saw the daughter of a prominent merchant whose name was Shua. He married her and consorted with her. She conceived and bore a son, and he called his name She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And then again she bore a son and called his name Shelah. And it was in
Chaziv.
When she bore him.
So what's going on over here? Right? We're going to have this whole chapter, and then on page 212, we're going to continue with the Joseph story. Lamed Tet, on the very bottom there. The Yosef Hurad Mitzrayim. Yosef was brought down to Mitzrayim. So what's the story doing over here? So Rashi brings that the brothers were angry at Yehuda. They said, you carried the day, right? Reuven was not a powerful leader. Reuven wanted to save Yosef, but he didn't say, right? He said, we'll throw him in a pit, right? Yehuda, what he wanted to do, he said. Yehuda was the leader. Let's not kill him. Let's sell him. The brothers agreed. So the brothers turned to Yehuda when they saw the tsar of their father. Right? Well, actually, they haven't seen yet. Well, right away, the brothers know that the father is going to be very, very sad, right? And they're afraid of that. And they say to Yehuda, right? We could have listened to you. We should have, right? We listened to you. Had you said, bring him back home, we would have done that also. So Yehuda was thereby somewhat ostracized, either self-imposed, but he went off by himself and gets himself into a mess over here. Right? He has these 3 sons, and Tamar marries the oldest. He dies. Yibum, the second son, marries her. He dies. He tells Tamar, wait until Shelah gets older. Rashi learns that he was never planning on marrying her to Shelah. She's already killed 2 of his sons, so to speak. Ramban learns, he was planning but wanted to Shelah would be old enough. Right? Tamar sees that Yehuda is not planning on marrying her to Shelah. She decides to do Yibum with Yehuda. Are we familiar with Yibum? I'm sorry, I'm using this term. Mm-hmm. Familiar with Yibum? Yibum is legislated by the Torah that if a married man dies, leaving no children, his brother will marry his wife, the late brother's wife, and the children are considered to be, whether it's Gilgal, whatever it is, the spiritual progeny of the late brother. Now, the Torah only allows it, or limits it, I should say, to a brother of the late husband. The concept of Yibum applies beyond that. So before the Torah was given, Yehuda and Tamar was actually Yibum. This was a way to give life to the late heir, to the son who had died. So she goes, she dresses up, right, like a harlot. She's at a crossroad. Yehuda comes by. Yehuda asks to be with her. She said, what will you give me? They negotiate a price. He says, I'll send it. She said, well, will you give me as collateral? She said, all right. So he gives her his cloak, his ring, his staff. They are together. She then disappears. Yehuda sends the payment, the goat, as payment. Right? Yehuda deceived his father with the goat, meaning they dipped the coat of Joseph, right, into goat's blood and showed it to the father, and the father thought, oh, he was killed. He deceived his father with that. Yaakov, so Yaakov was deceived by Yehuda with this goat's blood. Yaakov had deceived his father Yitzchak by bringing goats for the brachot. Yehuda is now deceived by Tamar with these goats that never quite made their way to her. She holds on to all of his identifying aspects. Then suddenly, Tamar is pregnant. She's supposed to be waiting